Hello and welcome to Knights of the Hobby Table. I'm your host Blake here with my always voluptuous co-host Oblorone. How the fuck are you, brother?
Voluptuous? Like, someday you're gonna have to teach me what voluptuous means.
It means thick. With two C's.
Yes. I got a lot of baggage in the front.
And look what the cat dragged in. We also have a guest with us today. Our dear friend Mark from Lorehammer. How you doing, Mark?
Hey boys, thanks for having me. I'm doing very well. Excited to talk some hobby stuff, some Lego, and just make some clean dick jokes.
Yeah. No, we were gonna make dirty dick jokes. Like
family friendly.
You know. I don't know what podcast you think you've wanted to do.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys.
Are you not washing your dicks, or?
Hey, no, it's our pleasure, bro. It's the shoe's on the other foot this time.
Yeah.
Usually we're on your podcasts.
Yeah, I have a little show, but we'll get to that, I'm sure, eventually.
We'll get into that. That's cool. Alrighty, Mark. Just in case people don't know you. Which, if they don't, I don't know how to help you. But tell people who the fuck you are, man.
I'm just a simple Panamanian chicken farmer. In a previous life, I had a podcast called Lorehammer, and it was pretty cool. We talked about 40k lore, and yeah, I had a couple co-hosts, and I had one of my favorite things about that show is just I was able to have like 50 different guests on, and even you two were on. So just being able to spread the word and talk 40k with as many people as possible was so fun.
Yeah, and you have a few other podcasts as well, right? Like you do listener lore as well?
Yeah, I do listener lore where it's basically people will send in their 40k short stories and me and a guest will read them off and, say what we like, what we dislike. That's been cool too, because even on that one, I've had 100 different people on that show. So that's
we're both
wild
on
too. And then my other show is Pillow Talk with Mark and B, and it's just me and my wife, and we just talk. It's just a weekly get together. Sometimes we read a book. Sometimes we're talking about, I don't know, how to fucking improve your life, whatever. Yeah,
feelings and such.
Feelings. But I just kind of consider myself just a nerd, and I've just been steeped in a lot of different little nerd subcultures, and I just love it all. So here I am.
Oh yeah, and we are quite a bit of the genesis of this podcast to Lorehammer, actually, hey, Obi, because that's where we met. It was in the Lorehammer Discord. Exactly. So, it's sort of like hanging out with our parent podcast, We are your progeny, Mark. Accept it.
Daddy Mark.
Daddy Mark. Panamark.
Daddy Mark.
Daddy. I love that. Oh fuck, no, that's cool. And interestingly, B is your wife now, right? You guys got married.
Yeah, I got married like 6 months ago, type thing, and we have our first little kid on the way.
Dude, I'm so stoked about that. Like, I'm so happy for you guys. I'm so happy.
Yeah, the crazy thing I'll share with everyone real quick is I had a vasectomy a couple years ago. So yeah, so all of a sudden...
Did you know? I feel like they might have just lied to you, man.
Maybe. I gotta go get that.
Let's just cut him open.
They took your money and left your nuts normal.
But, no, I'm super hyped. Children are important. I'm excited to, be able to have my kid and share hobbies with them. Like, we're talking Lego this episode eventually, and that, I think, is the first building block of hobbying for most people.
Oh, I see what you did there.
But yeah, as dear Marcus just said, today's episode is going to be about Lego, but don't expect too much actual Lego talk. It's probably just going to be our shit talking. So, if that doesn't interest you, I guess go have a breakfast burrito or do something else. But if you're here for some good shit talking to have a laugh, here we fucking go. So, yeah, Obi, what the fuck you been up to, brother? It's been a while since I talked to you.
It has been, and life has been, overwhelming again. So there hasn't been too much hobbying happened. But I did start on my night, and I'm like, I'd say 60% there on it. So I'm hoping I can get another hobby day in and keep on painting on that little bad boy.
Nice. I'm
that
sure you will.
Night is so cool, man. The colors of it, like the the tealy green and then the lightning and the gold, man. It's fucking tight.
Yeah. And then the LEDs in it as well. That just tops it off, you know.
I have to agree, man. I've always been so jelly of Unites. You know, it's funny actually, because I barely fucking paint Warhammer anymore. I just haven't had the drive for it. I went back and listened to episode 100 of Lorehammer the other day, and I'm like, I want to go home and paint. I don't know what it is, for some reason, jumping back into that lore, that's what makes me want to paint. And I'm like, this is what was missing. I need these guys.
Exactly. Funniest thing is, I've been working outside in my yard. I took down 5 trees on my yard, and I've been basically working in my yard all this time.
That's why he's looking so jacked.
Yeah, exactly. And I started listening to Grimlore, and I pretty much caught up with that. And what was the next best thing? Well, I'm gonna restart Lorehammer, so I did, and I'm on episode 2 again.
Well, by the time you get up to 100, Lorehammer will be coming back out, and you have more episodes to listen to. So
that's right.
Fuck!
You heard it here first, motherfuckers. We have done voodoo and sacrificed every goat in Sweden by Obi's nipples, nonetheless, in the great in the great circle. And we summoned a mark, and Lorehammer has been resurrected.
Yeah, so good going on that. Those poor goats, I hope you didn't fuck them in the end, but either way, I'm happy that Lorehammer's coming back.
They were not fucked, they were eaten. It's different.
That's fine.
Lots of curry for everyone. It was great. So, with the new show, have you got new hosts, or what's going on?
Yeah, so we kind of got a new format, but we want to kind of keep true to the old style. So the permanent hosts are going to be me, Christian, and James.
Okay.
On Lorehammer Old, we used to have that 4th chair, but as you guys know, recording online, the more people you throw into a chat room, the more clustered it gets. So we cut out one of the chairs, and then, you know, the episode style, we want to do the same thing. Like, I wrote 8 pages of episode notes on Thunder Warriors the other day, and we want to do nice, long, full, detailed episodes of just get into it, you know?
That's good. As long as the mark tantrums are still there, over shit like how Kimura works and stuff like that, like, I'm in. Like, I'm fucking in.
Yeah, like,
that's what I'm there for.
I think me being alone on an island for 2 years has only increased my insanity, so I think coming back will really kind of...
Yeah, You got that fucking... What's that movie with Tom Hanks?
The Castaway?
With the beach ball?
Yeah,
you got the Castaway vibe now. Exactly. That's who's in the 4th seat. Wilson!
Yeah.
That's cool, man. That's cool. Well, what have you been up to hobby-wise, Mark? Like, do you still do Warhammer, or... Like, what do you do?
Yeah, I've been lately doing a lot of Lord of the Rings stuff. My hobbying has definitely died down a little bit moving out to the island, but I'm moving again here pretty quick, closer to Panama City, so my hobbying will jump back up. But yeah, I've been working on some Lord of the Rings dwarves and men, and this go around on the army. Every time I do a new army, I want to try to focus on something I haven't quite done before, whether it's a new painting style, new basing technique, or lots of green stuff work, maybe LEDs. The goal of this project was to see where 3D printing is at. So I didn't order any GW minis. I went all 3D printed, and holy fuck, they're incredible.
Yeah, we've waded into that quite a bit as well. Like, I don't know if you know, like, I don't know how much you keep up with the podcast, but about a year ago we bought 3D printers.
Oh, fucking tight.
So Obi bought a resin printer, and I bought a PLA. Okay. So I could make, like, Star Wars props and shit like that. And Obi bought one to make miniatures. So we sort of... We've explored this quite thoroughly, and it is an ongoing thing on the podcast, so it's real fun.
Yeah, Obi just flashed a fucking Warhound head on the screen that he printed. Highly illegal.
That.
Holy fuck. Cool.
Yeah, so that's a scorpion mask, obviously, for my friend.
Yeah.
So, that's,
It's a whole Warhound in there, so...
Obi, you don't have that.
Yeah, so as you guys know, like, 3D printing is just wild technology now, and Like, the thing that really stood out to me was, you know, when you look at old models and they have their chainmail and they're kind of just these smushed kind of rings. In the 3D printing, it's like, that is actually every ring, and I can see how they all interlock even.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people, like, I always support, like, I always say, like, yeah, you should go and buy your models from Games Workshop, blah, blah, blah.
Nope, fuck that.
But, well, I always say it because I believe that, you know, if we want the games to continue and things like that, like, you gotta support the hobby, right, to a degree. But I know you, Mark. I know you have spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on models. I also know that where you are, it's fucking hard for you to just go to the game store and get models. Like, you live on a fucking island in Panama. Like, it's not exactly... It's a bit of a resource thing. On top of that, like, some of those Lord of the Rings models are so old now that, like, proxies and things like that is the far better option.
Yeah.
So, like, I can't fault you on that. And as far as, like, a Warhound Titan, who the fuck wants to pay a couple of $1,000s for a bit of resin?
Yeah.
Resin sucks in the first place. Like, I'm not saying you can't make good models with it, but, like, paying $2,000 for a resin Warhound is ludicrous.
You're
like,
making me feel like a chump for buying a Warlord.
I mean, I could print the Warhound for $80. So
wow,
considering the cost, it actually is. So, I mean, I kind of, the way that I've handled with most of the stuff is just printing bits for my Warhammers that I already have.
Yeah, like shoulder pads are like the perfect example.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Shoulder pads, weapons, new helmets. I bought my kid the Tyrannid, the Hive Tyrant, and the whole plastic kit is filled with stuff that if you only print two more bodies, you can build a whole new Hive Tyrant again. So it's basically what I did.
Wow.
So it's just trying to get all of the GW bits used is my goal. So
eco-friendly.
I think that exactly. I think I have one model where the only GW bit there is like one hand. So it's still technically GW, isn't it? So.
No, I mean, look, I think if you're somebody that plays the GW stores, then obviously you'll be pretty strict about that, but, like, none of us do. I never go to a GW, like, you know. Plus, they wouldn't let me anyway, because all my shit's kit bash, like, I always have shit on dinosaurs and fucking whatever, you know, like, shit's wild up in there. But, yeah. As for my hobby, what have I been doing? Working with the fish tanks, obviously. Fish husbandry is a never-ending hobby. I do have a little tale for you guys. Let me tell you about the day our fish scallywag turned into a murderer. So we have a fish named Scallywag. He's a small little betta fish, like this big. And we rescued him from a cup at a pet store. Like, they were gonna, you know, he was gonna be euthanized in the next week. So he was for sale for $5. So we're like, right, we're gonna buy this little dude because he looks cute as hell. Take him home. Had him in a tank on his own, sweet as anything. You know, his fins grew back because he had a bit of fin rot and that. So we rescued him, yeah? Now, he was always planning to go into our community tank that our old betta was in, Bootstrap. Bootstrap passed away from old age, right? We went through that on the podcast. Bootstrap passed away. You know, fish gods, rest his soul. And so we're like, okay, cool. Start again, rescape the tank, and we'll put Scally over there. Just this little red betta. His fins are growing back, he's looking lovely. Now, because he's a young betta, he's decided he just wants to fucking murder things. And because we only had a few Tetras left in there, and man, fucking I shit you not, like, we had 3 Neons and 2 Resporas left in there. One Respora we found with its guts eaten out and its tail ripped off, and we're like, oh no, what the fuck? And then the other one, the small one, disappeared like a day ago, and we're like, okay, hold on. And we think what's happened is because there's so few of them now, he's like singling them out. And we're like, fuck. Like today, we went to the tank, we turned the light on, and the weirdest shit, one of the Neons was lodged under a rock between the gravel and stuck. And we're like, oh my fucking god. So I had to rescue his ass. Who knows if he'll get eaten overnight. But we're going to try getting a larger school of tetras and see how they fare, because in theory that's a really good defense. If even one of those goes missing, he's going to be on his own, and he doesn't get any friends until he's older and more chill.
How do they kill the other fish? Do they like actually chomp them? Do they like headbutt them? Or like...
So what they tend to do is they'll basically bite their fins, like they'll nip their fins off till they can't swim, and then they'll just fucking peck at them, basically. Yeah, so it's pretty nasty, but the other funny thing is, so I have a giant betta who's like double the size of Scallywag, who like, we thought he was an evil motherfucker. I put friends in for him, and he loves them all. I put in these little Corridora catfish, these little guys like this, and one was riding on his head yesterday. Like, on it, and I'm like, this is the greatest thing ever. He loves them. Like, genuinely chills out with them, so I'm like, fuck, dude, I don't know anymore with these guys. So, yeah, so it's going good. Fish are going good. Always more work to do with them. Yeah, the other one, I'm actually getting into, I don't know if you guys know, like, you know how Americans are, how they do airsoft? Well, we're not allowed airsoft here, so we have these little gel balls instead, and we call it gel soft, or gel blasters. So it's like, they look like real assault rifles, like an airsoft gun, but they shoot gel pellets, basically.
And they still shoot, like, super far and accurate and all that kind of stuff? It's
yeah,
like...
they'll shoot about probably, like, I don't know, 40, 50 meters sort of thing. Like, not super far, but, like, far enough to blast people.
Yeah, it's not like you're shooting a Nerf gun or something now.
No, way better. Like, you still get little red rings and stuff. You can bleed if you get hit at high enough FPS, but it's not like getting walled with a paintball, so it's not quite as bad, you know? But, so I have a few of them that, like, people have given me over time and whatever. And one of them wasn't firing right. And I'm like, dude, I can pull this apart and fix it. I know I can. So I pull it apart. Everything's going great. You know, I'm pretty smart. And I get to the gearbox. What no one warned me about was the fact that in the gearbox, there's a big fucking spring like this. And before you unscrew everything in the gearbox, you're supposed to undo this screw called it's like the spring retention screw to just remove the spring. No one told me that. I didn't YouTube it. So I undo all the screws. And this thing just hand grenades on my desk, bro. And I'm like, well, I guess I'm learning how to reconstruct a gearbox now.
Nice.
So, yeah, it's, some parts around, you know. There's a buttstock. Yeah. There's,
But it's cool. Now you can add
screws.
gunsmithing on your resume.
Yeah. Add it to my list of other useless skills I have. But yeah, but I'm getting into that. I'm getting it's just off Team or whatever, but there's a Mandalorian, like a tactical style Mandalorian helmet I'm getting, and it flips down like an Iron Man helmet. I'm fucking keen as hell, dude. I'm gonna rock down on the fucking battlefield with my gel blaster shit. It's gonna be cool. That'll be cool. So I'm gonna get some exercise in, have some fun with the boys from work, shoot each other.
That sounds
Obi is not impressed because he does not like anything remotely gun related. Look at him.
Yeah, look at that
not
neutral
American
person over there. What's not to like about violent bloodshed?
He's right.
I like it in my lore and my fictional stories, but real life, nah. No need to kill it.
Well, we're not really killing each other. We're shooting each other with toy guns. It's no different than your lightsaber.
That's us. But blasters are savage weapons, you know.
From an uncivilized age. You're right. But yeah, so that's what's been going on with my hobby.
That's cool, man.
Same shit as always.
I really like your fish husbandry. I tried to do that for a hot minute, but like it's a lot. Like it's a lot to keep a bunch of different fish and keep the water levels neutral or whatever. Like it's a very cool hobby.
There is quite. If you break it down, it's not a lot, but there is a minimum learning factor you have to do in understanding water chemistry and the nitrogen cycle. Like, if you don't understand that, nothing will work for you in a fish tank unless it's by dumb luck. Like, unless you understand that to keep fish, you have to have good bacteria that break down the waste from ammonia into nitrates and nitrites, and then you understand that to get rid of those out of the water, you have to do routine water changes, and that's the cycle. Like, unless you understand that, your fish are just, they're never going to do good, they're never going to look great, and they're just going to fucking die.
Yeah.
You know? Even with me being a good fish keeper, like I've been doing it since I was 12, I still get deaths all the time.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes things just don't work. You know, sometimes fish just die too.
Yeah.
Like, no reason. We had, my missus had a giant koi betta, like koi fighting fish. Beautiful fish. And he was happy, man. He was happy one day, and the next day, we found him dead on the tank. On the bottom of the tank. And we tested the water. Everything was perfect. Temperature was perfect. His time was just up as a being, you know? So, is what it is.
I grew up in Canada, Alberta, which is basically prairies, cows, flat. I live now in Panama on the ocean, and, you know, I look off my deck and I just see all the fish in the ocean. And the other day, man, there's an octopus swimming around out there, and like I hopped in and went to go try to play with it, and that time it didn't work. But water and fish and it's a whole new world out there underwater. It's so cool, man. So cool.
Do you guys get a blue-ringed octopus where you are in Panama? Because I would look that up because they're venomous.
Okay,
So,
I haven't heard anything about them.
We share the same ocean as you, I believe, because you're Pacific Ocean, right?
I'm technically on the Caribbean side, but the other side of Panama is Pacific.
Right, so we get, like, in the Pacific, like, where we are, we got these little octopus, they're about yay big, and they're called blue-ringed octopus, and they're dangerous as fuck. Like, they will kill your ass. So, little guys with blue rings on them. Yeah, so just be careful.
Yeah.
Shit in the ocean's wild.
One of the things I like about Panama, though, is there's not a lot of things here that kill you. Like, there's some poison dart frogs, and it's like, well, they're not coming into my house and trying to kill me, you know?
That's true.
even in the ocean, like, we have some reef sharks here, but they're pretty passive, and, like, there's nothing really here that will kill you.
I don't think reef sharks really see humans as a food source.
No.
Like,
exactly.
attacks would happen, but not like we're gonna fuck you up sort of attack, yeah.
Yeah.
Even here, like, it's mostly bull sharks you gotta watch out for here, because they go up the canals and shit. They're pretty wild.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I've been fishing before, up at my local river. It's fresh water, or it's brackish, and, like, I've cast out, and my sinker's just gone like, donk, and I'm like, what the fuck? And it was a bull shark longer than me, bro. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Oh, never go in that river. Not ever. No way. Yeah. But, yeah. Obi, would you like to start us off with the actual episode?
Oh, sure. What is Lego, you might say, for those who haven't really heard about it? I mean, it's kind of...
I don't know where the fuck you live if you don't know what Lego is, but yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, even if you don't know what Lego is, there's probably some form of Lego anywhere.
Yeah, Mega Blocks or some shit.
Bionicle,
exactly,
maybe.
like the really big...
Yeah.
So, anybody care to answer?
Yeah. Oh, Mark can go if he wants, but would you like to answer, Mark?
The question was, what is Lego? They're like these little blocks, you know, and they have different styles, shapes, and they all interlock. And the concept is, build whatever you want. We have billions of blocks, and here you go, build a masterpiece.
Yeah. That's pretty much pretty much nailed it. So, they're actually made of ABS plastic, which, if anyone cares, and it's a plastic nerd, that's what they're made of. They came out in 1949. They're made by a Dutch dude named Ole Kirk Christensen. And I would have butchered his name because I'm Australian.
Are you sure it's a Dutch and not a Danish?
Well, I mean, fucking whatever, dude. It said Dutch.
Fucking some type of Eastern European nonsense.
I think it's Danish.
You know what, dude? He's not Australian, so whatever, man. No, you are right. It's Danish. There you go. Danish, Dutch. Cool, man.
Oh, no, it's not the same. But sure.
Take that,
it's like
Denmark.
saying the Kiwis are the same as the Australians.
Basically are, dude. We just don't like sheep as much.
I
I didn't insinuate anything sexual. I'm just saying. It's just a lot of sheep there.
Mine went there, that's on you.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, we were like exactly 2 minutes on track on the episode and we're already off the rails again. Come on.
We've murdered all the goats and we fucked some sheep. What next?
Oh, wait till we get to the cattle farm.
We should have made like a bingo list with all the
Polar bears?
all the crimes.
Check.
Yeah. Talk about nipples? Check.
Yeah, judging from the singlets, I'd say you killed all the polar bears for winter, right, Obi?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Wait, is this going on YouTube? Is anything in his bed?
Oh shit!
I had to blur your tits now, bro.
I think now's a good time to
That's
shout out
perfect.
my OnlyFans.
Oh.
One episode in, already banned. Huh.
I just put little stars on it. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, fair enough. Obi, so how is Lego a hobby, bro? Like, you don't think games are a hobby? How is Lego a hobby? Please
I
explain.
think it's just the possibilities to do things and be creative with it is just immensely huge. So there's like so many different kits that you can build according to it, or just do completely different stuff. On the other side, there is also the collectible side of things. So you could just, I mean, if you're into Star Wars, you can collect pretty much any Star Wars vessel, build them up in different sizes if you want. So it's just the possibilities to create so much cool stuff with the pieces you have. It's just, your imagination is basically just the limit for this, because what can you make with these blocks?
People, they collect the minifigures too, don't they? Like the little dudes, like from the kits.
Yeah.
I've seen like people on like YouTube Shorts and shit like, I paid $400 for this mystery box of minifig. How about I made a profit? Like, you know, those sorts of things. And I'm like, fuck, dude, I didn't know you could do that, but alright, apparently you can.
I kind of like that question, like, what is a hobby, first of all? Why do we as humans hobby? What do we get out of it? You said, Oblerone, the one kind of main thing I think is creativity. It's a creative outlet for
Yep.
a hobby, but you know, there's so much more to it. Like humans, we rely on playing, like playing with other humans, interacting, and that's part of the hobby. And even with Lego as a kid, I remember playing Lego with my homies, you know, building a giant thing and then destroying it with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
What
Yeah,
other
I-
things do you think makes up a hobby, and why does Lego fall into that?
I mean, how we normally define it is like, is there a creative side to it? Where you can like create something and make it your own. Like, you know, like fish tanks are a hobby because there's the husbandry side, but there's also the creative side of decorating the tanks. Like, how you decorate a tank might be completely different to how I do it. Same as Lego, right? And like, you can gain aptitude and get better at it. So like, I'm not that great at Lego, but I feel like you would be much better at Lego than me. Just because you've built it so much more. And like, I know people that love Lego. And they're pros at building that shit, you know?
It's
that's
funny
how I
that you
define it.
kind of say like that. I know when I'm playing with Lego, or if I'm playing a game like Minecraft or stuff, when I look at my builds compared to other people's, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm actually going in there and adding like support columns and stuff, even though you don't need them. You know, little details like that where, you know, if you're not in the construction industry, you just wouldn't kind of see how a building actually goes together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, have you got anything to add to that, Obi? Like how you would define a hobby? Because we're a little different in how we define it, but...
I think just something that your hands can do to free yourself of the daily routines that drag you down, and just step into a new kind of world and release all of that daily stress from you. That's something that I could define as a hobby, really.
Yeah.
Be
That's
it
deep.
painting, be it I would say, this pains me to say, but I would even put gaming under that. So
We got there, guys! We got there! We just need Reverend Mark to drag the truth out of him. Take him on.
Hallelujah!
Hallelujah! He's fixed!
Yeah, so I think kind of what I got out of that is, yeah, so the hobby consists of, there's that creative aspect, there's that escapism aspect, and then there's that, like, community aspect of, like, now you're interacting with other people in your hobby.
And also the ability to improve in it.
Oh yeah,
Like,
sure, that's huge too.
Improve, yeah.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's an individual thing. Like, I have to get better at painting minis. Like, no one else, I can watch all the YouTube videos in the world, but I still have to do it. So it's a great way to, like, boost your confidence as you pick up your first mini and your last mini, and you're like, holy fuck, I'm improving.
And that's the one big thing that, when we first started this podcast, the one thing we always set out to do was get that attitude of, like, you don't have to compare yourself to professionals or people that other people on the internet to enjoy your hobby. You need to learn from them, but compare yourself to yourself.
Yeah.
It is fruitless for me to compare myself to Obi's miniatures, like, unless we're having fun with it. But for me to go, oh, I shouldn't paint, I'm not as good as Obi. Why does that matter? As long as I'm better than the ones that are on my shelf from 6 months ago, then that's what hobbying is about, right? Like, in my opinion. So, it's the same with guitars, fish tanks, like, anything that I class as a hobby, that's the same. And that's why we don't count, like, watching TV as a hobby, because, like, it has escapism and it has, like, the switch off, but it doesn't have the
creativity.
Attitude. It doesn't have the creativity to it. Like, it lacks those components, you know?
Interesting.
So,
yeah, no, I like that. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, so that's how we define it. Like, yeah.
I think also you can the bonding side of it. Like, for example, now that I've got my kid, and Mark, you're gonna soon have your kid, Legos will definitely be something that come up for you and your kid. And just being able to sit on the floor with him and just create things with him, and like asking him like, oh, how would you do this? And just like have different ideas and like try to build something together that we can just make a story with the minifigures that we have. And it's just
How old is your kid?
He's 9.
9.
Yeah, so he's almost right in like the prime, like getting ready to really get into some of these things.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Tight.
Legos, I think he's already outgrowing Legos, and we've already started on the Warhammer stuff too, so...
Heck yeah.
Outgrow Legos. It is a daily struggle for me not to buy into that hobby. Daily. Daily. Because, like, the thing about it is, right, like, okay, Legos, they're blocks, but, like, what makes them so cool, besides just being blocks for me, is, like, the licensing things alone. Like, you don't like Lord of the Rings? That's okay. There's Harry Potter Lego. Oh, you don't like any of that nerdy shit? You can buy a Bugatti Veyron or Porsche. You know, you don't like that shit? There's Jurassic Park. Like, I'm sorry, but you have me in Jurassic Park. No matter what it is, you fucking have me. I'm powerless. Powerless against Jurassic Park. So, like, you know, and then it's like, okay, you know, they have Bionicles and shit, which are like mechs almost. If you don't have me at Jurassic Park, you definitely have me at robots or mechs. Like, it's just, like, designed to fuck my wallet up. You know? It's just, it's a hard thing. But as you can see by all my shelves, I don't have much space for Lego, you know? It's a tough one.
I think the next step for Legos would definitely have to be Warhammer.
Have you seen any of the Warhammer Lego that, like, just random people do?
Seen it? We've given some away.
I have some of the Cadians,
cool.
But they're not official, of course, Lego miniatures. They're just some China recast stuff.
I feel like that's a collab that has to happen though. Like Lego
has to happen.
Warhammer have to
happen one day.
I mean, just
40K is only getting more and more popular and getting their fingers into more and more areas, so it'll happen.
Did you guys see they're doing a crossover with fucking COD? With Call of Duty?
Yeah, I did see that.
They did a Warhammer crossover. If it's going to COD, it'll be coming to Fortnite next, and if it's going to Fortnite, it's coming to Lego after that. That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
In my opinion. So that's cool. I dig that shit. Let's cross everything and just make it one big fun world, you know?
It all comes back to Lorehammer in the end.
Always Lorehammer, the progenitor. It's like the ocean.
Oh man, that episode was so wild.
No, dude, I love episode 1 of Lorehammer. That's a classic for me. I remember listening to that and just be like, these guys are off their rockers. I love it.
Oh, just insane. I remember I listened to it one time and like, I just said, yeah. Anytime, yeah. I was just doing that the whole time, trying to engage or whatever, but it was bad.
How surreal is it listening back to your own podcast? Like, not just for editing, for like, you're actually listening to it, and it's like, you try to converse, or like, you think, what would I say when that person asked me that question? And it's always exactly what you're saying. You're like, ha.
We are alike!
It is me on there. I don't know, it's weird to me.
Since I've been editing, I have not listened to any of our own episodes.
Yeah.
Before when Bowen did it, then I would listen to them too, because I would just be like, yeah, I'm really fucking proud of this, and now it's just, I've listened to it again.
I will often listen to the first 15 minutes just to listen to my intros to see how good I did, because I never write out intros. And the other day we had one that was so good, me and Obi like died. It was like strap in, strap on, strap in, strap on, and strap up, because we're about to get fucked in this next episode. And like, I don't know where it came from, bro. It just flew out of my mouth, and me and Obi were both just like.
If we would have had video feed on that one, that would have been so good.
It's so good. Sometimes, like, I'd say something, you just see Obi's face, like.
Is that legal? Can you say that?
Oh, are we gonna get sued for that?
Probably. That's okay. Won't be the first time.
No.
Cool.
Not.
Trying to get back on track though. What else makes Lego fucking great? Like, obviously it's just blocks, but what else makes it great besides it being blocks? Like, you guys got anything?
Yeah, I think for me, it's the eternal toy. So, for example, I have Lego from when I was 6 years old, and I have a nephew who, when he turned of age, I gave my big old bucket of Lego to him, and he was able to play with it the exact same way I was. He was able to build whatever he wanted, something new. So I think the longevity of it is what's really special.
I think that's cool too, because like, especially these days, the world we live in, where everything is just so disposable. He's too old now, throw that in the bin. Like, sure. That's sick as hell. And like, you can probably message your nephew, like, when he's old enough, and go, hey, can you ship that down to me in Panama for my kid?
Yep, that's
right.
Cool,
and then
sure.
like, yeah, like, that's so cool.
Yeah, and like, how many other toys can you do that with? Like, let's be honest. If I gave my kid any of my Warhammer minis, they ain't lasting. Like, those are personal to me, you know? But Lego, that will last.
Yeah, for sure.
And like, I think that's really cool. I think the other really great thing is, as a home defense tool, Lego is fantastic. Like, you don't want a motherfucker entering your window, you just sprinkle some Lego there. If he's barefoot, he's done. Caltrops, man. He's done. Personal defense item. You know, people always talk about carrying pocket sand. No, pocket Legos. That is the ultimate. Pocket
Great way
Legos.
to kill time, too. Whip them out and build something.
I mean, especially like those little one studs. One of those in your eye would be terrible. And then you throw the ones on the ground, like, you just disabled your opponent completely. So, self-defense with Lego. That's where we're at.
Yeah.
Wow, so you Australians really, you don't have guns or weapons, you're defending your homes with Lego pieces. That's...
Yeah, no, we don't, those things, they're not there. They're not there. They're not swords.
Those aren't swords. For all I know, those swords are made out of Lego, so...
I mean, they're not, but you know.
I think another great thing, like, and it goes to that longevity of... Ooh, yeah, that's a nice sword. The longevity of Lego is, you can build one kit, and then you dismantle it, you can build something completely else. Like, it's just, you can constantly, you could have one box and you could build it forever in a billion different ways. Yeah. And you just really don't get that same thing with any other kind of building hobby, whether it's Gundam or like, model cars. Yeah. It's a one and done type situation.
Yeah. Yeah, see, the one advantage, like, where the really cool thing is with Gundam is once it's built, you have a million poses you can put it in and like ways you can model it. So that's sort of a cool thing.
Sure.
But you are right. Once it's built, and you're like, okay, it's done. So yeah. Actually, one thing I don't know if I've told Mark, but one thing I'm going to be doing, I actually had the fish tank now. It's going to be going here eventually. And I'm actually going to be doing an aquascape centered around a Gundam that's like been ruined in battle and it's sunk to the bottom of the fish tank. It's going to grow like algae. I'm going to put like bullet holes in him and shit. It's going to be cool as. Yeah, because they're actually
cool.
they're fish tank friendly. So that's the thing. Yeah, I don't know if I told you, but I actually acquired a fish tank that's going to fit there. I just have to move that stuff out to the lounge room and make my second gaming lounge room. So
okay,
yeah.
A question. You talked about rebuilding. What's the coolest rebuild or the most creative rebuild you've done with Lego? Like, take apart a complete kit and do something else with it.
You talking to me or Mark?
Well, either or.
Go for it, Blake.
Look, honestly, we were pretty poor as kids. We didn't really have much Lego, but I always played with Lego at my friends' houses. So like it was just not a thing that we really had too much. But I think my favorite thing that we actually did at a friend's place was we actually played Lord of the Rings Warhammer with Lego scenery. So
Cool. Yeah.
his little brother had a bunch of like little castles and shit, and we were like yoink, ripped them apart, put them everywhere, used them as like bastions and walls and things like that. And that was what we used for our Floorhammer game that day. With our we had orcs and Gondor, so it was like. I think there was an elephant involved as well. We worked it in there. But it was pretty wild. And yeah, we just had Lego kits that we used as scenery that day. Because, like, it was fun. And it gave us actual... It was that or, like, books and video cases. Like, or DVD cases. So it was like, take Lego Castles any day over that, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, we did that. His little brother tried a massive shit fit about it. But, you know, we put it back together for him. So it was kind of all cool in the end. I got to build with Lego too, so... Yeah, that was it. That was fun. What about you, Mark?
Yeah, I think the coolest thing I ever built, and I just sent you guys a link in our chat there, was a converted YT series Millennium Falcon. But I came up with my own crew, and, I rearranged the cockpit location to be in the middle. The thing about the YT 1300 is it's super customizable, where it's modular. So you can move the cockpit, you can move the crew cabinets, and do all this kind of thing. So I custom built my own for my own little mercenary crew.
Wow, that's cool, dude.
Oh, yeah, that's super cool.
See? This is what I mean about aptitude with Lego. I couldn't do that shit. I'd be like, is there instructions? You know? Like, I just wouldn't figure it out. So that's cool as.
Yeah, I love the center cockpit on that thing. Sure. So cool. But yeah, I think that was my favorite Lego kit. I actually ended up... So what I did with that, I built the Millennium Falcon normal, then I tore it down, and I built my version, then I tore it down again, and then I built it one final time, but with super glue. So then it...
Cool. It was together forever, yeah.
And then I gave it to my nephew when I left Canada, and now it's smashed into a million pieces, but...
Oh, no.
Yeah, regardless of the
glue. It'll come apart again.
That hurt me. That reminds me, I still need to send you a Gundam one day, Mark, so you can try it. I want to get you hooked on this shit.
I'd love it, man.
I get it. you don't know frustration until you're trying to figure out how, like, this little leg pin goes into this piston inside of another leg, and all the instructions are in a language you don't read. It's great. We're not going to test you as a hobbyist, you know?
Yeah, I'd say so.
My unicorn Gundam, the Banshee, I nearly quit hobbying. I'm like, I'm done. I'm going to heat this thing in the wall, and I'm going to burn it, and I'm done. Let's call us.
For me, I think what I used to do, at least as a kid, was just rebuild also the things. And I used to have a lot of these rock grinders crew with these miners and everything. And that had like a really big platform to start on. To make your own car out of it, and that would it's just perfect. Yeah, and that so that kit got sent off to some family's kids, and now my kid got those Legos back. So now it's come full circle again.
That's
so it's
crazy.
Being able to play with it again. Yeah, that's awesome.
You know what's actually crazy? Oh, sorry. You know what's actually crazy? I don't play with actual physical Lego much. I play Lego Fortnite with Tara all the fucking time. And I make dope Lego builds in that game. Because you can just build with whatever you have. Like all the pieces and shit. You can start... Fucking awesome, man. And then it's like, there was a guard tower. I knocked all the Japanese style bits off and made us like a massive like Japanese palace tower. And like we had like a little fucking like launch pad on one side. It's so cool. Anyway.
Very
cool. Lego's fun. Fun. You can make vehicles in it too. It's wild. I made a car that I called the Long Dog. It was 2 like long bases together with 2 wheels and an engine and a fucking steering wheel. And it just kept like bottoming out over all the terrain. It was brilliant.
So I think, because recently when I've been building Legos again, I think the coolest thing I did was make a Abaddon model in Lego.
What?
So he's like huge and hulking compared to the normal figures, and then just making robots. Yeah, it's yeah.
Well, where is this model kit? How do we?
I'm dying to see a picture.
I think I sent a picture of it like a couple of years ago.
Did you just make it?
Yeah, just out of bits that there were. Just
fuck, dude. My brain does not work like that. I need to play Lego more.
You need that electrician brain. Me and Obi.
Yeah, that's what it is. You fucking electromancers.
Yep. Firing on all cylinders over here.
I'm just over here like, conk with a rock, you know? No finesse. Not at all. So...
Well, you guys can go ahead and I'll see if I can find it.
Yeah, that's cool. So, what's the coolest, like actual set out kit, like stock build that you've seen, Mark? Like the coolest, like, you know, maybe it's like the Death Star or like the coolest sold kit that you've seen assembled.
That I've actually seen in person. My co-host Eric from Lorehammer, he had the I don't know how many pieces, but I'm gonna assume it's a couple thousand piece Star Destroyer. And you know that thing was 3 foot long type thing, and it was a big dog. That was fucking very cool.
That's cool. Shout out to good old Eric. May he rest in peace. Oh, yeah. I saw something about you saying that he's in a dreadnought now. Just let him rest in peace.
My favorite rumor of what happened to Eric is that I killed him in one of our classic Lorehammer arguments. Then I ate his corpse naturally, and then I fled the country.
I mean, all I'm saying is we haven't seen Eric in the same room as you for a while.
You know, make of that what you will.
No, that's funny.
What about you, Liz? What's the coolest one for you?
Oh, man. I think the coolest one I've seen was actually, like, the Hogwarts. Like, the castle, like, the big old motherfucker. I did see that as part of, like, a custom thing, but I know the Hogwarts castle was a straight build.
Apparently that castle got blown up a couple weeks ago or something like that.
Oh, really?
Damn Russians.
But yeah. Damn Russians.
But yeah, it's really cool. Like, it's such a classic castle build. So iconic. I feel like even if you haven't watched the Harry Potter movies, you still know that's the Harry Potter castle.
100%, bro. 100%. What about you, Obi?
The coolest one I've seen in real life is probably the Gringotts Bank. Like every year we have like a sort of a nerd con, and there's Warhammer, there's any kind of stuff really. There's even archery classes you can do and stuff. And one stand has like Lego Masters Junior or whatever. Not really, but I think there they had built like the Gringotts Castle and had not the castle but the Gringotts Bank, and then have the lower section where they have the train ride and everything in there.
So, but is that one you can buy straight
vault rooms?
Is that one you can buy straight out of a kit though, or is that a custom one?
I think it's a kit build. I'm not 100% sure.
Because I was going to ask, like, what's the best kit you've seen, and then the next one's going to be the best custom thing, like, that you've seen. Not rebuild, like, custom, yeah. So, that's cool.
But no. I'm not sure, because I've seen that kit before, and then I think the official kit came after. and I don't think it comes with the underground section. So I'm
Right.
not 100% sure if it was an official kit or if it was a rebuild.
Oh, either way, fucking cool ass.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's really cool.
Nice. Okay, well, what about the best custom shit you've seen, Mark? Like, coolest custom builds, you know?
Yeah, like, I don't know if one comes to my mind necessarily, unfortunately. You know, my main hobbying with Lego was when I was a child, and back then we didn't have the internet to look at everyone else's cool stuff, and I haven't really dabbled too much since.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. I for me, it was when I went to that hobby expo last year, Obi, and like that's where they had the Harry Potter thing. So not only did they have the straight build of the Hogwarts castle, but they had done all the surrounding shit for the area. They had
Crazy.
on the bridge, they had the duel going down between like Voldemort and Harry, and then they had like all the bridge and shit. They had like the Hogwarts Express going around a little loop.
Wow.
On the viaduct. Just fucking wild. That and these swords that the same dudes that were there, they made swords out of Lego that were actually like you could swing them around and shit, bro. They were so rigid. It was remarkable.
Ooh.
Like
That's
and
cool.
like obviously things get bigger and more grandiose and whatever, but like that was fucking sick. The fact that you could like have something that's not gonna just shatter apart when you move it. Like I gave those things like a proper. I Annie Obi'd them, Obi. Like, proper, like, you know, like, saber style. And they didn't swing it full apart. I'm like, whoa. I'm like, are they super good? And they're like, no, look. And they pulled a chunk off. I'm like, okay, that's cool as shit. That's cool as shit. Like, the engineering and the thinking that's gone to making that steady is so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the coolest one I've seen, this was online though, not in real life, but I've seen somebody who's made like a full-sized board, really. And it was, I think, Starkiller Base, and it had pretty much like the TIE Fighter. No, not the other ones. Got that?
The X-Wings?
What are the name? Or is it TIE Fighters? Yeah, it is TIE Fighters. It had like a
The
hangar
black
with
ones?
TIE Fighters. Yeah, the black ones.
Yeah.
So I had a hangar with TIE Fighters and like different rooms with all the different scenes, and it had like a couple of scenes with like that were in the movies, and then I had like an outside piece where there was like a wrecked AT-AT, and it was awesome to look at.
That's cool as fuck.
I think one of the coolest things in my mind that I like doing and looking at is kind of the landscaping, when people do the landscaping with the Lego and not so much like a vehicle, and you know, just watching how they build up the layer and layer and layer of different sediment or whatever. It's so cool, man. I really like looking at like
like you look at a green hill and it's got like 8 different types of green that's all going up like
exactly
like these gradients. Yeah, that's wild
Yeah.
shit too, man.
so cool.
That's that's rad. See, this is what I mean. Lego is so much radder than people give it credit for, I feel.
Yeah, man.
It's
Whether you're making a sword, a spaceship, or a landscape, it's all fucking cool.
Man, they actually have I think it's finished now, and I didn't get a chance to go, but they actually did a Jurassic World exhibit for Lego at our local museum during the last school holidays. But only that I couldn't be bothered dealing with all the children I wanted to go because they had raptors and shit made out of it, and I feel like that would have blown my brain a little, but I just didn't have the time, you know?
Yeah.
And it would have put me over the edge. I would have walked over there with a massive kid on my shoulder. So, Mark, is there any kits that you've wanted as a kid / now? Like, is there any Lego kits you go, fuck, dude? If I see that on special, I'm in trouble. I'm buying it. You know.
I accomplished that goal already. So yeah, I did that Millennium Falcon, and that was kind of like I was an adult. That came on sale and I bought it and I didn't. So I already kind of did the dream project. But I think now, like, going forward, I just want to buy, like, random kits, you know, where it's just I want to start amassing my Lego collection of just random parts more so than trying to do a specific build.
Okay.
I already did the dream build, you know?
He's done, yeah. He's done. He's Lego peaked. He's busted that Lego nut.
But there's still more, you know? I can still... give me 5 minutes, we can try again.
Let you get your pull. What about you, Avery, man?
the kits as when I was younger were definitely more the Star Wars inspired ones.
Yeah.
And I've gotten a few of my old kits back, and like they're just breaking apart because the brown pieces from those that age, they were just really brittle, and if you would overstress them, they would break.
Specifically the
and
brown.
Also, yeah, specifically the brown ones, and I've also have dark gray. Especially, I had like these droidicas that I would play so much with, and they were, you could even fold them up, and like the old design was really cool. The newer ones are a little bit weirder. They probably work better, but you know, nostalgia strikes again. But yeah,
Lego Star Wars.
Nostalgia strikes back.
It's just so good.
I think some of those Phantom Menace ones and like that early stuff, I think that's worth quite a bit of fucking coin too, dude. Like some of the figures and that. So definitely preserve what you have and check it out.
Yeah, I've made a couple of the scenes with some of the minifigures that I still have, and I have like a Darth Vader miniature and an Emperor and everything. So I'm trying. But the kit that I've seen just recently came out is the Mordor kit, where it's the Eye of Sauron.
Yeah, I seen that.
And that looks so cool, but it's like 250 euros. It's like, oh, that's a lot of coin.
I'm amazed you didn't say a Lego Porsche, to be honest. Like, I figured that would
honestly, yeah, but that one, it's just a massive tower with the eye in it, and if you would hide an LED in that one, to just make the eye glow, come on, how awesome would that be?
Okay, how do we get a couple $100 so we can make this happen? Subscribe to the Patreon. Knights of the Hobby Table.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, we're going to let Mark do our Patreon shout out this time because he's always been good at making people subscribe to Patreon. It worked on me. It can work on anyone.
Yeah, here's kind of what I typically go with. Listen, I have people around the world that will beat you up if you don't give me your money. I got people in Australia. I got people all around. So you send it in and you're safe. Mafia hustle.
That's right. That's right. The Lorehammer Mafia works for us too. We're affiliated. Lorehammer Legal works for us too, by the way. We're covered. We're part of the guild. Oh, that's funny.
Nice.
Yeah, Patreon. Yeah, that's cool. For me, I've showed you a couple of times, Obi, there's this Jurassic Park / Jurassic World one that came out recently. It's like a little like angled rock with a T-Rex footprint in it and a T-Rex skull beside it. And it's like, it's not even a big kit. I think it's like $60, $80. I'm definitely buying that. Probably soon. Just for my Jurassic Park collection up there, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I just feel like I need that. But other than that, definitely Star Wars stuff, man. Like, I really fuck with the idea of, like, the little helmets. You know, the little helmets you can have individually. Those are cool. And some of the ships and stuff as well. Like, it's so scary for my wallet, bro, because I know what I'm like.
Yeah.
I know what I'm like, you know? So, it's like, tread carefully.
Yeah. A Star Destroyer is definitely something that's on the wish list as well. It's wow.
I think that's what makes Star Wars so fucking perfect is like there's so many vehicles. So you kind of mentioned Lord of the Rings for a hot second. I'm like, what Lord of the Rings kit have I seen? I've seen Rivendell, that tower, and maybe that's it really. They lack that like vehicle or like that like the actual construction aspect of it. I feel like in Lord of the Rings So Star Wars is just perfect for
like
it.
this building the Shire.
Yeah.
The Shire is not really something that's...
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool, but it's gonna be a hard one to display.
Yeah.
Like, just
that and, like, you can't
just,
play with the Shire, but you can play with your X-Wing flying it around the...
I feel like organic creatures don't usually come off as well as machines.
Yeah,
in Lego.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, like, you could make Smaug, but, like, I don't think Smaug's as cool as an X-Wing. I don't think Smaug is... even, like, the Lego T-Rexes. I love it in theory. I love the T-Rex breakout scene where it's got, like, the bent fence and that, and it's got the Ford Explorer, but the T-Rex just doesn't look that cool. It's goofy. Like, it just doesn't work to a degree.
Yeah.
So I'm like, Star Wars, though, you can make the Mos Eisley Cantina with the Millennium Falcon landing. Like, you can do anything like that. I think that's real cool.
Yeah,
so
it's perfect.
Star Wars is perfect, I think, yeah. I would love to do, like, Anakin's Pod Racer.
Sure.
Or, like, a cool TIE Fighter, something like that,
Yeah.
Maybe I will do some TIE Fighters or something, like, hanging from somewhere.
Yeah, make a little display. Put some cotton foam on the ceiling. Of course, you put LEDs underneath that cotton foam, and then hang some TIE Fighters and
Dude,
X-Wings.
if I owned this house, I would already have a storm cloud thing going on up on the roof with, like, shit going on. But unfortunately, I don't own the place, so I have to be careful.
Damn.
That's why I have this big banner here, because it used to just be a big, ugly window. Like, just a hideous blind and shit I'm not allowed to take down, so I'm like, samurai banner. Done. Fix it. Cool, man. Awesome. Good answers, guys. It's almost like we have professional podcasters here. I love this.
I prepared for months for this podcast.
We should start our own podcast. What an idea.
Son of a bitch, I'm in.
Bro, people would lose their mind if we started a podcast with you, like an all the time thing. People would be like,
Yeah, if you would ask me that before I was going to be a papa, I'd be like, yep, got all the time in the world. But now...
unfortunately, we work so much that we don't have all the time in the world.
Yeah.
Well, you got to start a podcast that can pay you, and then you have all the time in the world. See, this is that kind of cycle of podcasting.
Yeah. We're trying. We're hoping that people will just realize that Obi is in fact an elf and I'm a dwarf, and Lord of the Rings will sponsor us. I don't know.
We can put that vibe out into the universe.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a Dunedain to join,
dwarf. Yeah. Obi has a knife here, like,
Yeah.
Real quick though, how fucking cool are Bionicles? Like, were you guys in school when that shit struck? Like, when Bionicles touched down? Do you remember the chaos of Bionicles? Because I fucking do.
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah, we're all roughly the same age, so yeah, we probably all kind of hit it at that same time. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, for sure. I never had any, but I remember one dude was, like, obsessed with them, and they were tight.
So, you know how they... for people that don't know, they were sort of like, well, they're like a little mech almost sort of thing. Like, but they're their own warriors, and they all had masks that went on. And they had this cool little, like, lever on the back that if you swung it like that, their sword and stuff would do, like, this choppy thing,
Yeah.
And what we actually used to do was we would actually battle with them in school, where the objective was to knock off the other person's helmet.
Okay.
So you weren't allowed to, like, smash them against each other. You had to, like, sort of hold your arm static like you're having an arm wrestle and, like, had them in range. You had to sort of, like, do these whole things and try and, like, knock the other guy's mask off. And if you won, then you won something from their Bionicle kit. Like, maybe you won a leg off the other guy, or, like, we used to play for keeps, for components. Woo! So then all of a sudden you start making these custom Bionicles that fuck other people's Bionicles up. It was like Beyblades, but, like, it's just wild, man. It's just wild. It was like, it was cool.
Yeah, and what was cool about that, too, is, like you kind of mentioned briefly, it had great lore with, like, all these hero characters and the mask that would give them power, and very cool, man. I might have to dive back into that and just get a refresher, but I remember it being very interesting, and they even had, like, a TV show at one point. And...
Yeah. And games and shit. And what was even cooler was after they did that first range of Bionicles, they did these other ones that were, like, the enemies to the Bionicles, and they were more, like, squatted down little guys with, like, a clear helmet over the top, and if you pressed them, their head went, like, bleh, bleh, like, forward.
Oh, I have one of those.
Yeah, and they had little bug brains and shit, so then it was like, you could fucking fuck, man, so cool.
Yeah.
Like,
I remember the containers they came in, too. The packaging was so cool for them.
Yeah, they're very collectible now, like, new in thing, like, people collect them. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and
cool stuff.
How would you describe Bionicle's bits as opposed to Lego bits? Because, there's some similar things, but it's slightly different.
They're more of a Lego Technics thing, right? Is that right, Obi?
Yeah, definitely. Because they're not really studs that interlock, but it's more just like axles and different pieces that kind of work together, and like a ball joints and stuff like that. That's not something that's usually in Lego builds. It's very more specific build stuff for just that, like with an arm and claws.
Like maybe the way to describe it would be it's mechanical Lego as opposed to like block Lego. Yeah, you're talking about the joints and the kind of pistons and all that. It's mechanical.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. It's much more like, and I think that brings us on to our next thing. It's a hell of a segue. Is like Lego Technic is also a thing where it's not focused on blocks. It's literally building vehicles or building like those sorts of things. Where, like you said, there's cogs, there's wheels, there's turning things. There's like all this stuff.
Rubber bands for fan belts and stuff.
Yeah. There's even little motors and stuff, right? In some of them.
Yeah.
Like little
and
electric motors
LED
and
blocks now as well. There are LED blocks. And, I mean, you can make fully remote, drivable cars now with the Technic stuff. And like I'm pretty sure there's like a Caterpillar style machine as well, and like a crane.
That's so cool.
It's so much cool options with the Technic stuff. Like you mentioned earlier, like the cars, the Bugatti and the Porsche and Lamborghinis and stuff.
Yeah, there's a Mustang as well I've seen. Like, it's cool as hell.
Yeah, for sure.
But you know what's funny? I bet the Lego Technic Mustang, if you put a motor in it and made it like steerable, I reckon it would actually turn corners, unlike Mustangs.
It won't go for the crowds.
That one was for our American listeners.
Got him.
Got him.
Yeah, that's a real crowd killer.
You know what's interesting, Mark? So, I'm obviously Australian. Mark lives in Sweden. And we shit stir Americans all the time on this podcast. Our biggest listening demographic is still Americans.
Yeah.
I'm so confused. Like, is it just because there's so many of them and, like, a small portion of them get it? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, like, I think, is there really that many Americans? You know, there's only 350 million of them. Like, is that really that much bigger than all these other countries? Like, I guess a lot of European countries, for sure, absolutely.
Definitely bigger than us, bro. I think we're 25 million here in Australia.
Really? Okay, maybe I need to look at some population numbers to get a better perspective of that scale. Because it's like you got China and India with 1 billion each, and then you jump down drastically to the next kind of tier.
Yeah.
Let's have a look.
I think we need another world war. Is that what we're saying?
So
might as well.
That's that. We're pretty close.
Give us something to do.
So we got 26.6 million here in Australia.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
so then you break that out to America, and you're looking at like fucking 20, 30 Americas. Or Australia's in America.
Yeah. 341 million in America. And like, we're not much smaller of a country either, like by landmass. So like, we're very spread apart.
Fair.
Like each city here is like maybe 2 million people, you know? 2 to 5, yeah. So, but yeah, interesting. But I think that's what it is. I think it's a population density thing, and it's, you know, they're probably one of the most populous English speaking countries. Like,
and there's
wealth
wealth too. Like, you know, you can't get into any of these hobbies if you don't have a little bit of money to spend.
That's true. Yeah. Probably why we don't have like many people in like, you know, third world countries listening and stuff, because like their hobby is not that, you know.
Their hobby is chicken farming, man. I'm telling you, it's a great hobby.
Yeah.
Great hobby. I mean, to be fair, it's the closest thing to raptors you can farm, so I get it, you know. Just the whole, whoa, blue. Yeah.
Cover your eyes! They're coming for the throat!
Don't move. They'll lose you if you don't move.
Reminds me of that scene in Monty Python with the bunny. The most vicious creature you've ever seen!
Get the holy hand grenade! That's funny. Alright, now I think the last question for the Lego stuff at least. Mark, would you collect Lego if you don't already? Like, is there something you'd actively get back into collecting? I think you sort of answered it already, but just...
Yeah, so kind of my game plan is this, actually. Like, so I live in Panama, and we kind of were talking about third world countries and not having money to kind of do some of these hobbies and stuff. So my goal is I'm wanting to, when I move here in the next half a year or whatever, I want to get a 3D printer and then start printing Lego blocks and then start selling them to the locals for like dirt cheap. And I know with 3D printing you can get recycled plastic, so it will be kind of eco-friendly where I can go and get recycled plastic and kind of help the environment and then take them back, print the blocks, and then, sell them off. And with having a kid on the way, that's my salesman right there. I already got my crew assembling where, he's going to be playing with his friends and they'll be like, where'd you get that cool Lego? And then he's like, well, my dad printed it. He can print you some too for a couple bucks. And I really want to try to go into a little bit of that business aspect while also enjoying the fucking cool Lego blocks.
I'm sure if you got an extrusion printer, which is more what you're after, I think, I'm sure you could do good enough detail that they would clip together like Lego. Like, I'm really sure you could.
Sure.
And it'd be quicker and cheaper than resin, Like, for a kilogram of PLA here, I pay... what do I pay? $35? But you could even do the proper same Lego plastic, like the ABS or whatever it is. Yeah. I'm pretty sure you can get 3D printers to actually print in ABS, so you'd be doing it with the same hardware and material as well, just layer by layer.
Yeah.
So, definitely something to think about, and I'm sure they do recycled ABS as well, or whatever,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, there would be a couple of those kind of features of, finding the right printer that can kind of do what I'm wanting to. And But yeah, that's kind of my goal with the Lego in the future is, and just start printing blocks and kind of start a little business and help people get into the hobby without having to spend an arm and a leg.
I think that's really cool too, man, because, like, obviously in a third world country, like, they're not buying Lego anyway, so it's not like you're taking a slice out of Lego's pie.
No.
Right? You're not hurting anyone. You're giving stuff to kids that they wouldn't normally fucking have access to. I think that's really cool and really admirable. Like...
And the really recyclable aspect.
Yeah.
Third world countries are different, man. Toys are different. Everything's different. My neighbors, they don't have power. Like, literally, my neighbors, they don't have electricity in them. So when you're thinking about how to interact with them through play, you can't bring them a remote control battery operated car. They don't have electricity.
Yeah.
So you got to think of things that are gonna be durable. You got to think of things that are going to expand the mind, and like, there's a couple factors into the toys that add up there when you're in a different place.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, 3D printer would honestly be pretty cool. Like, not Lego. The shit you can build with those, like, you can do like really cool like dragons and frogs and things like that. They're like interlinked and they move and stuff, and like really fun stuff. Like, there's some cool prints out there. So you'd probably have a lot of fun with that. Honestly, you probably help a lot of kids,
Yeah, that's the goal.
Yeah, for sure.
It's cool. And, as long as you're covering your costs and making a little bit for your time on top, I think that's pretty rad.
Yeah.
Obviously work within your economy, but yeah.
Definitely that idea, because there's trash all the time anywhere, and plastics you can reuse to be some way or form, for sure. So I think that's a really good idea to have your own source of plastic to print out your stuff. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
really good idea.
Cool. I dig it. Good work, Mark. What about you, Obi? What did you collect Lego, if you don't already?
For me personally, I think there's just a few specific kits I would buy, but not really. No, I won't go out of my way nowadays to buy them. If I would get them as a gift, wink wink, I would definitely do it. Build them more and collect a few more. Maybe buy a couple of kits myself to add into it. But I don't think I would spend the pocket money for myself. For my kid, it's another thing. But I don't know. No, I won't collect it myself. There's already so many hobbies that I have, and I don't have time for yet another one.
If you weren't already ball sacks deep in Gundams, Warhammer, 3D printing and shit, Lego would definitely be a thing you'd smash.
Probably, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I'm sort of in the same position. Like, I think there's a couple of kits I'd like to build, and I'd like to do it just for, like, because I never really got to have it as a kid. Like, not like nice kits and stuff. You get a block here and there, but But I think there's a couple, like a Jurassic Park one I said, or maybe a TIE Fighter, or an X-Wing or two, like a good sized one. but I wouldn't invest into the hobby heavily. You know, not because it's not a great hobby, but Gundams, model cars, fucking everything. Like, I already have a billion hobbies, so it's a hard sell when you're already so monetarily invested in all those things, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, cool. Well, that's Lego, guys.
Fucking lovely.
Fucking love Lego. Well, that's why we had you on. Yeah, I remember I was talking to you, like, you've been a planned guest since the start, and you specifically said, you're like, I don't want to come on a Warhammer episode. Like, I'll come on anything, but just don't make me on the Warhammer episode. And I'm like, alright, Lego it is.
Yeah.
So we've waited, and now we're here, you know?
Honored, man.
So, you're a Lego Mark. Tune in next week for Lego Hammer. Nah. That's cool. Awesome, man. Alright, well, you know, what we normally do, you know, is we check our Discord for people like to put up some models every now and again, Mark, for us to roast.
To roast them, okay.
To roast, and this is the problem. See, Obi is very polite, and he tends to give very constructive criticism rather than just shit-stirring people. So I feel like we're in good hands having you here today, because I know how much of a shit you are.
Yeah, okay, so where do I see the picture we're about to roast?
If you go into roast for the podcast, just under the announcements thing there, see how there's like a few hashtags there?
Yeah.
Yep, so roast for the podcast, and you'll scroll up a few, and you'll see Gerald has posted a model that looks like Ridley from yeah, he's gonna cop it. So he wants us to roast this for him, you know?
Yeah, I've actually seen this mini before. Like me and Gerald are good friends. He's probably gonna be my permanent host on Listener Lore actually here. Get that going again.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love Gerald. And this mini, while I don't have much feedback for it because it's fucking tight, man. Maybe let's start off describing what this thing looks like.
It looks like Ridley from fucking Metroid. Yeah, Super Metroid. So the big alien bird motherfucker, the purple guy. Massive wings.
It looks like it's a Tyranid hive tyrant with wings, and then it's got like a Chinch demon head on there and arms and stuff. Like,
is that where he's got that from? Right.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's a nice kit bash, that's for sure. I really like that.
I think it's a clean kit bash. I think where it loses me is the eyeball. Like, so he's got all this beautiful light refraction coming from the lava, and then he added another super bright eye source for his light, for his eye. And, like, I get that Ridley has, like, that one gold eye, but this looks like he's sort of been sprayed with, like, mustard in his eye, and he's like, ah!
Okay.
Return of the mustard. No.
Yeah, our listeners like to spray their guys with mustard a bit, so...
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, I think that, like, he would have looked a bit more dynamic if that was toned right down, and the real dominant light force on it was actually the stuff coming from the lava.
Yeah.
Because, like, that... Having that be that bright, I actually didn't even notice the light source of the lava until I moved through a few pictures. Because that eye is so bright comparatively. You know?
Yeah, your eye really gets drawn to the eye.
Yeah. So, you know. And I think that I would have, as far as the light source goes, like the OSL from the lava, I definitely would have dry brushed and brought it up to a bit more of a yellow on the high points. Because you have yellow for the high points in your lava, and then it sort of goes from orange to red, whereas this just has a bit of an orange glow. So I would have gone a bit more yellow on the highlight and a bit more of an orange for the eye. That's what I would have done.
Yeah, but I definitely agree with the OSL doesn't really look 100% right. What you kind of want to do is have your darkest tones spread as much as possible. So that would be reds. So the base should have definitely been red and then go up to the yellow for the specific highlights, really. That would have sold it 100% more. It's a great effort. I really like what the color choices and everything.
Yeah, I think what bothers me is it's so close. It's so close. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Like the greatness is definitely there. It just needs that little punch to finish it off.
And I think the other thing for me is the purple. I feel like your purple is a bit flat, especially along where the scales and that are, like the chitin and that is.
Yeah, like the back
If
image
you look
of it.
like if you look at any like box art of a Tyranid, they'll always have the highlights on the edges, and then they tend to do like micro scratches in a certain direction of the color as well. So if you had done like a slightly darker purple, then brought it up to that mid-tone there, and then done the light purple highlights, and then done like micro scratches down the chitin just to make it a bit more interesting, I think it would look absolutely fucking killer. Because the problem is when you have that much of any one colour, it can look blocky. Even though you've done your edge highlights, it's just, there's not enough to break it up. So you have to sort of have lines in different directions and, you know, random things like that to break it up and make it look really fucking ace, you know?
Yeah. To make the highlights better, you need to have shadows also.
Oh, interesting.
So that's really what you kind of could use more of. And you can achieve that really simply by just washing it. But for Tyranids, you could just use a pin wash with a panel liner, and that would just seep along the panels perfectly, and I would have just made the finishing touch really.
Yeah. So to me, a panel liner, I don't know if you know about that shit, Mark. That actually is a godsend. It's like I might even have a bottle. I don't know where my panel liner. Oh, there it is. This shit here. Not sponsored, but we'd love to be. Yeah, not sponsored, but we'd love to be. This shit here, bro, you put that on like the edge of anything with detail, and it'll just run along those edges and just do your detail.
So is it
it's
oil wash then, or like?
Yeah, so it's basically like an oil wash, but not quite as oily. It's a bit cleaner and easier to deal with. So it comes with this little brush like that. And that bad boy just flows along whatever you need it to flow along. Yeah. Like, it's real cool.
Huh.
Yeah.
Perfect, for example, for the Tau. That would have worked immensely great. Just to dip it in their panel lines, and it will just flow inside, and it will make the accents straight away. No hassle. It's very easy stuff.
I don't know if you can... Yeah. I think I'm going to show you if I can. So, I don't know if you see this leg here. This bad boy here.
Yeah.
So there's a line along here. If I literally use this fucker and just dab it on there. And yes, I'm doing this live on the podcast. Get used to it. Literally just dab that on there. And I can wipe the excess off. Look, see that line? So it's a bit hard to see, but like literally it's filled in that panel line gap for me.
Cool.
Very nice and thin.
And you don't have to prime it a certain way, like...
Nope. So that is raw plastic straight on a runner, and that will just run along that, and it'll just stick to it.
Cool.
And you can just, when it's sort of halfway dry, it actually did. It's hard to show you, but it actually went all the way around that piece, all the way to the other side.
Crazy.
You can see it?
Yeah, from one dab.
From one dab. So...
Wow. Okay, so that's a fucking game changer. So now I've learned two hobby tips from you guys. That type of paint, and then also OBS is just as much shadowing as it is highlighting.
Yeah.
For sure.
Look at that. See, we're a real hobby podcast.
Yeah,
Look at us go. We're teaching the Lore Master things. God damn. But now, look, I think it's a pretty cool model.
Yeah.
Like, all seriousness, I love shitstorming Gerald, but like, he's done a great fucking job.
For sure.
Just,
the wings look amazing. I look like the webbing in between the wings. Real cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Agreed. Yeah, just more interesting in your purple, and fix your mustard iron will be good.
I think for me, the only thing I would suggest is somehow that base needs to have some more depth, or at least another element to it. Typically, base design, you incorporate 3 elements. So he's got 2. He's got the lava and then the ground. But it's also like flat, so I feel like the base is just missing one element, whether that's like a boulder jetting out of the rock, like a jet black kind of slate type piece, or there's just that third element on the base that's missing. The humans, we like to see groups of 3.
Yeah, I always
Yeah.
find... Yeah, and it's the same in fish tanks whenever you do aquascaping.
Yeah.
You want to follow the rule of 3 for anything. Like, you don't put 2 stones, you put 3, or you put 5. You know, you never put even numbers because it looks human-made. So, with that, like you said, a nice big dynamic foam rock coming up, or, like, even a bit of cement or something with some, like, rebar coming out would look fucking
Yeah.
absolutely ace. And you can still... It wouldn't even have to be heaps. Just enough to be, like, in the base and showing something, like you said. It would just make it look more actually organic rather than, oh, I made this.
Yeah, like,
You know?
it just looks so incredibly flat, that base, so... That, you know... But like you said, man, Gerald's a fantastic painter, and this feedback, it's like, yeah, we're almost having to try to nitpick to try to find something, you know, like...
Oh, yeah, well,
Exactly.
you know, he put it in the roast channel.
Oh, so he's okay with it then, so fuck that guy.
Fuck that guy. Honestly, what you should have done was put the picnic table from the Costco that he was clearly in the food war at when he copped the fucking mustard in his eye, flipped over in the lava. That would have done you good.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I think Blake kind of described it earlier on in our episodes. It's that height that you need, like a piece of cork or whatever, like some tree bark even that you can paint up. Like I use for my knights and pretty much all of my armies in my bases, I use tree bark as rocks.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Great.
It just it brings the height, and you can paint it up looking like rock basically.
Yeah.
So it's that height factor that you need.
It adds. Yeah, to be honest, even if you had done the bit like the bit where the lava isn't the dirt a deal higher,
Yeah.
and then broke it down to another bit, like a third layer, even that would have looked a bit better.
Exactly.
But you know, good work though, Gerald.
Yeah,
You did
for
good.
sure.
Hell of a fucking kit bash, dude.
Yeah.
Really.
We were really good. I like that. The head fits in perfect.
Yeah,
Nice.
you get an A for kit bashing, and an M
Definitely.
for mustard and I.
Love it.
Alright, so now we're going to my favourite part of the podcast, because everyone knows we're actually just a music podcast, thinly veiled as a hobby podcast. And today we get to review an album from one of my favourite bands, actually, which is Unleash the Archers. They got a new album out called Phantoma, and we've all given it a bit of a listen. We're going to share our thoughts on that. Obi, I'll let you go first, since I know yours is pretty negative. But go to town.
So, describing this album is a power metal album with female lead vocalists who can really hit the opera notes.
She's good.
really well.
She's good.
She's a really good singer. Who does the screams though? Like the lower
The
screams
guitarist.
as well? Okay.
The guitarist,
okay.
yeah, not her. She's classically trained. Her name's Brittany Slays. I believe, from what I've read, she started singing, like, she started being trained to be a singer at the age of 8.
Okay. Okay.
Hence
Yeah,
the incredible vocal range.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's something I definitely picked up on. However, it's not something that interests me, and it can't catch me. Like I can't find a hook to it to keep me into it and keep listening. What they did do with this album is have power metal is basically the whole thing, but there are some bits and pieces in there that sound very 80s retro. Like some songs gave me Stranger Things vibes, and that's something that I liked a lot more. And there were a little bit more of these, like I said, 80s retro music vibes. And that's
this
what
album's
kinda-
very synth heavy. Like, more than normal for them, yeah.
Exactly, and that's kind of the bits that I liked more about the album.
I don't know
Weirdly
if
enough.
I don't know if you caught on to it. Did you notice it was a concept album? Like, there's a story being told?
Yeah, something about
Yeah.
robots, right? And
Yeah,
Rise
there's
of-
like an
Rise of the
AI or
Machine.
something like that,
Yeah.
yeah. So these guys write really cool, like, all their albums are a story. Like, you know, they're an actual concept album, or mostly. So the last two were actually linked to each other. So Apex and, the last album, which I can't remember the name of right now. Fact check myself. Hold up. And Abyss. Apex and Abyss, they link to each other. So, Apex is basically about, like, this giant that sleeps inside of a mountain. It's controlled by this evil chick called the Matriarch. A whole big war breaks out, whatever, and he eventually goes back to sleep. And then in the next one, he wakes up to realize that, like, all the planet's gone, and he's just on his own. But then the Matriarch's trying to come back in, like, space times and shit. It's really crazy. Cool story. A lot of rad stuff. And Phantoma, seems to be about, like, an AI, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Yeah,
a lot of the robots rising up and things like that. What will you do when the robots take over or stuff like that? I definitely caught on to it, but like I said, I couldn't for the life of me get hooked into it. I had to turn it on, to turn something else on. Like there were, because usually Spotify works is it will put on a radio, and I like the radio music of that album more than the album itself. Yeah. So
I think it's worth noting though, it's not that it's a problem with the album. It's the fact that you're not a power metal listener.
Exactly.
Like, you're not listening to Powerwolf or Sabaton or things like that, by any means. I definitely fucking am.
Yeah.
So.
I listened to this stuff when I was probably around 12, 13. Yeah. If I would have come out then and listened to it then, I would have probably liked it a lot more.
Oh, that's why you said you used to listen to Blind Guardian, whereas me, I'm like, I love it. Yeah, right. Cool.
And Powerwolf and Blind Guardian, definitely.
Yeah. Awesome.
For sure.
Mark, sorry, quickly. Obi, how many goblins out of 10? We still rate things in goblins here.
I mean, it's not... The production is on point, the vocals really good, guitar playing solid, drums also cool. They got the little extra stuff in there. Like, as an album as a whole, it's still a really good music album. So, musically, I would rate it definitely a 6.5 out of 10 for that.
Okay. Cool.
It's
cool.
just
That's a lot of goblins.
So.
Just not your thing. Yeah, it's a few goblins. We still got more in reserve here. Many goblins in the cages. Mark, as someone who is not typically a metal guy, I'd love to hear what you think about this album, man.
Yeah, so this is what I kind of got. Great storytelling and themes. Like, you can clearly pick up that, they're not just singing about a heartbreak. They're trying to tell you some type of ballad. Fun guitar solos and drum solos. Like, they have so many of them, which kind of is the next thing. The songs are all like 6 minutes long, but I feel like that's needed for the vibe. You know, you need those long intros to really build up the atmosphere of the song and, in return, the whole album. I picture the target audience of this is He-Man.
Yeah, I think that...
Yeah,
it's pretty much like people who play D&D and the Warhammer nerds and stuff like that. This is for us.
Now, I wasn't expecting the Screamo, because it's a few songs in before they actually drop the Screamo. I think it's like 4 songs in, so just out of nowhere, bam, it hits you, and it hits you hard, man. And that's one of my favorite songs, The Collective, because that's the first time they drop the screaming.
Yeah.
And then it's interesting, they go a handful of songs again without screaming, and then they do Ghosts of the Myths, and it's this cool guitar intro and twinkling sound, and I liked it instantly, and then... Later in the song, they start screaming again at me. And I'm like, oh, I guess I like yelling. Like, they had this great vibe and like, yeah, man. And then the final song was Blood Empress, and I think that's my favorite standalone song. And once again, it's just like great music, like great guitar solos, great drum solos, the vocals and the storytelling, and then they finish it off with just a little bit more of that screaming. But really, the album left me feeling, like, strong, confident, and powerful, really. You know, I was working out in the gym, and I was just doing push-ups, and just, like, that was the vibe. I'm just thinking about He-Man.
I love that, man. That's cool.
Yeah, for
sure. And that's a glowing review for somebody who's not typically into metal.
Yeah, no.
And I think that's my favorite thing about this sort of metal, is the fact that you don't have to be a metalhead to find shit you enjoy in it, right? Because it's not death metal. It's not raw the entire time. It's like, you can hear vocal lines you can resonate with. You can hear lyrics that you understand. and you still get that good bit of heavy, musically, these guys do touch on death metal quite a lot. Their older stuff is what I would call power death. Like, they have a lot more screaming with the power metal vocals, with that sort of guitar, but it's still power metal. So, like, they have a lot of that.
Yeah, I think they had the perfect amount of screaming in that album. Like, it just caught me so off guard. And then it was like, and then it disappeared again for like 4 songs, and then it was fucking back, and you're like, whoa! Yeah, they did it perfect.
Yeah. And it's like, her vocals too, like Britney's vocals are as such that they blow you away on their own, and you just get comfortable with the fact that, like, okay, this chick is insane. And then you hear that come in, you're like, what the fuck is happening here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do have a complaint, though,
Okay, what's your complaint?
It feels very repetitive. Like, all the songs I wouldn't be able to kind of distance themselves from each other. But man, is that just a genre thing? You throw a bunch of rap songs at me? Is it just a genre thing?
Yeah.
It can be a genre thing. I think that this album's a little bit more guilty of it than previous albums. But I really think that they had a very distinct narrative they were trying to tell.
Yeah.
And song cohesion sounding the same was not a thing they were worried about. Because they were like, right, like, we're telling the story. That comes first. And obviously they're all phenomenal musicians, so they sort of just did their thing. The album before, I think, was a little bit more separated out. But in metal in general, you do find that. Like, I find, unless they're like a super progressive artist, that you can tell, like, like, one Slayer song sounds like the next Slayer song. One Lorna Shore song usually sounds like the next
one
Lorna Shore
Eminem song sounds like the
them.
next one.
Yeah, so it is a bit of that. But I find that where you'll usually find your difference in your songs is when you start to know them. So, like, I really, 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 really like Gods in Decay. Like, that was probably my favourite song on the album, number 6. And it's just because the vocal hook in it is, like, amazing. And just listening to it front to back, that song immediately punched me in the face. It's like that vocal hook for the chorus. So it starts to become like that. And then The Collective jumped out, and then Blood Empress as well. So it's like, I know that if it's not those songs, they're different songs. It's sort of just, you start to separate them the more you become familiar with it, you know? We only dropped it on you a few days ago that we're reviewing this album too, and like I said, you're not a metalhead, so it's like, yeah, that makes sense. That makes perfect sense.
I think the way that albums usually get written is when people get into a certain state of mind also. So, and it usually is recorded over the course of like 2-3 months that you get written and you record and stuff like that. So your state of mind usually doesn't really change that much during that period. So, and your guitar playing at that time is also not gonna change that much. So in between albums, usually the songs will sound very similar, but in between albums, you'll get totally different
very
sounds.
different vibe. Yeah, like if I sent you stuff from 2 albums before this, you'd be like, oh, that is audibly distinguishable from this album. Like you can tell that. And I think the other thing, to be honest, is probably also the fact that you generally listen to music that falls into that radio time. So like 2.5, 3.5 minute songs. Whereas like their second track is 6.5 minutes. That would have felt like 2 songs, but it's 1.
Yeah.
And so you probably think, where does this song end? Where does the next one start? Like, what's going on there so long? Because your brain is just trained to have that, like, level of attention for that long of a song. Whereas, like, as metalheads, like, I can show you Rime of the Ancient Mariner by Iron Maiden. It's a 13-minute song. Like 1 track. So it's just... Yeah, like... It's a thing we get a bit more...
I like the long songs. Like I said, it set the vibe, you know, the tone of it all so well. But then... Yeah. Well,
I think that's probably why it sounded a bit samey and,
It's a very minor complaint, like, honestly. For not being my genre, I had a great hour listening to that album, just working out and running around in the jungle.
I hope you listen to it again next time you run around in the jungle.
Yeah, I think, like you said, the more I listen to it, the more I'll be able to distinguish the different songs from each other, and it will only
check out their other albums as well, man. Like, they have some other really good stuff. Like, the 2 albums before, I'd probably put up 10 out of 10s, both of them. You know?
Goblins, I think I would rate this about... I think I'll give it 8 goblins, honestly. It was good.
Ooh!
Yep. I liked it.
That's a lot of goblins. Very good. Obi, you got something to say? You look like you have something to say. What are you going to say?
Oh man, it's just that I have songs that can go up to an hour.
Sleep.
Yeah, sleep. Definitely, I was in a phase of my life where doom metal is definitely something really big, and those songs can last from anything up from 10 minutes up to an hour, really.
So doom metal's not something that hypes you up, though. It's very, like, slow and chugging, like... But this is like... This is ADHD music. That's what it is. Let's go.
Yeah, for sure.
For me, man, like I said, I'm the big Unleash the Archers fan in the room. And I was very excited for this album. It's an absolute fucking banger. I don't like it as much as the last 2 albums, I have to say. I don't know. It's not just because it's a new album, because I've listened to it probably 20 times through already. I think it's the setting of the theme doesn't hit as hard for me as the previous ones. Like, Apex is very much more of like or at least in the way I pictured it, was more of like a Tolkien sort of, Tolkien-esque sort of fantasy era, and then the next one was sort of sci-fi, but it was like after that sort of Tolkien era fantasy, so it continued. Whereas this is more like, I get like Starfield vibes, you know, that Starfield game? Like, super futuristic, you know, biodomes on a planet, sort of, that sort of futuristic. Okay. And that's cool, but that actual, like, area to tell a story doesn't interest me as much as sort of that more medieval fantasy sort of stuff like that. So I think that in general, like, the album is great. Well, obviously the fucking production of that is insane. Britney's voice is nuts. I did notice she didn't push herself as much on this album as she did in the others, but I think that's actually wise. Because, you know, like, I think she's in her late 30s at least. You know, as you get into your 50s and 60s and things like that, if you're still doing this sort of music, you don't want to be having to hit those notes the way they used to be. So, writing to sort of where you're at is very smart, because you can taper off the earlier stuff, do the newer stuff. Like Rob Halford from Judas Priest, who's known as the Metal God. You listen to his newer stuff, he still does the highs and stuff, but he's not doing what he did back on Painkiller, right? Because, like, he knows he can't hit that all day, every day touring. So I think that that's wise to write that way. That being said, she still has a better voice than pretty much most humans that could ever hope to exist, in my opinion.
It's so crazy. I never would have thought that the Screaming was a chick.
No, the Screaming's not. Screaming is a guitarist. He's a dude.
Who's the chick?
So she's not doing the screaming. The chick is the singer. Like, the lead singer.
The lead singer's a chick?
Yeah. So that all those highs, that's a girl. And then the screams, that's the guitarist, I believe, like, doing it. He's always sort of done
I think I gotta go, next time I listen to this, watch, like, YouTube videos so I can see who put some voices to some faces, because that really changes. Is it music for men, or is it like female empowerment music now? I don't know. I gotta listen again.
It's She-Ra music, you know? That's what it is. So yeah, the lead singer that does like the 90% of the vocals is a female. Her name's Britney Slays. They're Canadian, by the way. Canadian metal band.
Fuck Canadians. They suck.
But yeah, so
cool.
But the other cool thing is, man, this album slaps. But I'm actually seeing these guys live next Saturday, and on top of that, I'm actually meeting them.
Fucking cool.
So it's gonna be really fucking sweet, and I'm very excited. I'm gonna slip them a sneaky business card for Nights at the Hobby Table, and ask them if they want to listen. So they may hear this. Small chance, but they may hear this. So in that case, I apologize for my co-host's ignorance, guys. No, seriously, great album. I'm gonna give it. If the other one's a 10 out of 10 goblins, I have to give this one an 8.5 to a 9 goblins. Just because, like I said, the music's all there, just the theme doesn't hit on a personal level as much for me. I'm not into that sort of far sci-fi AI sort of shit, you know. That's probably going to be our future anyway, so I prefer the Tolkien-esque medieval shit we did a few albums ago, definitely, as a theme. But, good shit. Good shit. Awesome. That's pretty much it, guys. Anyone got anything else before we go? Mark, you want to give your little podcast a little shout out again?
Yeah, I'll shout out some stuff. Come check out Lorehammer. We are a 40K podcast, and we focus on just telling all the little deep, dark corners of the 40K lore. And we do nice, big, long episodes too, and it's a lot of fun. My other podcast is Pillow Talk with Mark and B. It's just me and my girlfriend, or my wife, I mean, and we just shoot the shit together, read books, do whatever. Good times.
It's very cute. And there's also Crotalids in the 40K podcast. It's very fun.
Yeah.
Crotalids are badass motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Important crocodiles.
I have a whole army of Crotalid hunting space marines. Yeah, they're pretty fucking tight.
That's cool, man. If you know, you know. But yeah, thank you for coming and waiting for the perfect time to strike and then appearing on this podcast with us, Mark. We've loved it, brother.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. I had a great time.
Anytime. And we'll have to pop over and invade your Lorehammer space sometime again.
Yes, sir.
Help you guys out, and I'll have to run distraction and make everyone annoyed. Obi, you got anything, brother?
No, not really. I'm really happy that Mark came on. It was good. It was long overdue, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah. Hey, look, we're trying to get more people on. We're working on it. Nah, that's cool, man. Awesome. Well, I guess a few things before we go. Obviously, if you like this podcast and you think it's amazing, or you even just think it's average and you know another nerdy person who might like it, show it to them. Jump in the Discord, come play video games with us, and if not us, friends of ours. And you can become a friend of ours too. Also, as you can see, we have lights in our room. We want to keep it that way. So if you join the podcast, Patreon, we have a better chance of keeping lighting on. And this is actually probably going to go on YouTube as well. Trial run. But you can watch us as well and see how much Pepsi I drink in an episode. And also, probably Obi's nipples if he doesn't blow them. So there is that. So, Patreon. Yeah, toss a coin to your podcasters. And until next time, remember to fucking crank that amp.
You slay that grey.
And we are the Knights of the Hobby Table.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Adios, amigos.